Sergey, it's great to see you as always. I lose track. Are you following me? Am I following you? I know you're my best agent. Anyway, that's enough of the advert.
You're a listener. You know about that. Yeah.
Thank you. So, 3 years ago, when the ICO thing was really hot, I never bought into it. And that's where my journey started. It started 4 years ago when I first went into cryptos. But 3 years ago is when I said, I don't buy this ICO thing. Where do I go next? Okay. So everyone was looking at ICOs, some form of token, etc. And I went back and I said, I have experience right from the early mobile development days to .com, Java, internet. So I said, what happened in the .com days? And then I looked at it and I said, what happened in .com and the Java internet days was it enabled people to solve a problem of how to do some form of e-commerce. So the bricks and mortars types of businesses closed. And then what you got was the eBays of the world, the Amazons of the world's developed. But yes, sure enough, over 95% of people failed. And I crashed as well as many other people. So made the tens of millions, lost the tens of millions. Lesson learned. Then I went into real estate. And everyone was doing financial leveraging of some form or the other. So leveraging on top of leveraging and all that. What happened? That bubble crashed. Another lesson learned. Then blockchain started. So these are the main, what I call the historical technology innovations that happen. And we've got to learn these lessons. Blockchain started. What was the killer app in that? Bitcoin. In the internet days, when it started, the killer app was emails. In the financial world, crowdfunding started, okay? That was the killer app, for one or better words, okay? Was it anything new? No, we did crowdfunding centuries ago. A and B gave money, they collected it, did a business. So Bitcoin came, blockchain. That I saw go very much hand in hand with the internet boom, because now it gave the fuel and the money away from governments and in a decentralized way in a proper trackable manner. Many altcoins came, ICOs came, another crash. Like all the other crashes, you get the cream rising at the top. So we've seen the ICOs and the IOs and the SEOs and STOs and all these O's that you can think of, and I'll say it's full of O's. 95% not worth it, okay? So why did that happen? I say the main reason why it happened was people were not doing business fundamentals, basic things that if I am an investor, where do I put the money? If I want to loan money, how would I loan money? So it all came down to middleman. If you look at it from the internet days, they wanted to cut the middleman down and bring products across the world virtually free of transactional costs and delivery anywhere in the world. Same with the crowdfunding. Finance was raised around the world virtually free in terms of transactional costs, but there was middlemen. Blockchain came, ICOs came, too many middlemen. So then came the big argument. Do we have a centralized exchange? Do we have a decentralized exchange? So the DeFi, DEX, CEX, the CFI, all those arguments started evolving. This is the year of 2020. So what have we seen? We've seen the Uniswaps of the world, the Sushis of the world in decentralized exchanges kind of scenarios. Okay? So these are decentralized exchanges. Let's look at some pros and cons about this. When Mt. Gox happened, Binance gets hacked, BitMEX, all these people, when they get hacked or something goes wrong, because it's money. In the old days, we had banks. You could say, hey, Mr. Bank, you owe me money. It's not my problem. Give me my money back. In a centralized exchange, you can do the same thing. So Binance and all these people give your money back. In a decentralized exchange manner, who do you go to? Okay? Therein it lies a problem. I'm not saying it's bad, but I will get into the pros and cons. Same thing happened with the centralized base of financing. You went to the bank in the traditional days. I need a mortgage. I need a loan to buy a car, house, yacht, helicopter, whatever it is. And you got it. Someone did the due diligence on you that make sure there's no money laundering or you paid your taxes, etc. Nobody liked this. Why? Because it creates a big cartel between governments, banks, interest rates, and multiple number of what I call middlemen, be it lawyers, surveyors, chartered accountants, etc., etc. Everyone has to earn fees from it. It is very top loaded. So I took it back to the internet days. How do we crunch that whole model? So centralized exchange, good because at least someone is accountable and someone takes a ledger and someone says, I am liable for. Governments get involved if it's a regulated exchange. In a decentralized manner, it's really Wild West. Hell, if you go on Uniswap and some of these other exchanges, you don't even know your history. You don't know when to buy, when to sell. You don't know how to manage that portfolio of what your buy price was, what your stop losses are. You can't do any of these things that professional investors do. All right. Then I said, hang on. What is the problem that we're all trying to solve? The problem is people don't like being told where to spend their money. People like to get the best deal available across the world. The world's become very small with the internet. People like to know and understand that, you know what, there is an amount that I've got to pay for tax, but there's an amount that if I've already earned and paid tax for it, now whatever I make on it is my money. You can't tax on tax on tax till the day you die. You pay, even when you die, you pay a tax. When you create a pension, you pay a tax. So people get fed up of this. Governments don't like what I talk about. Banks don't like it because all these people, insurance companies, they are all getting a cut till the day you die and even after the day you die, because the person you've given the money to inherits the money and he gets bloody taxed on it as well for inheritance. So it's a vicious circle. Okay. So that's the problem people are trying to resolve. So I went back and thought 3 years ago again, what's the vision? And I looked at, I'm an Indian origin person, but very international, as you know, Sergey, born in Africa and Kenya, British citizen, Dubai resident, American, gay it up, living in Eastern Europe, la, 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 la. Anyway, so I said, the world has become international and global, true example of a global citizen. And it should have no borders, okay? So how do you take all the good things that we've learned, cutting the middleman, creating some form of an exchange, creating some sort of a currency like Bitcoin that is going to be transacted everywhere, something that's regulated, something that someone is accountable for. These are the problems people want to resolve rather than up, down, up, down, up, down all the time. If I'm sending money to Sergey, he needs to have the exact money rather than a variation of plus or minus 10%. All right. Hence why CBDC started, the central banking digital currency started. Here's the problem with that, what a lot of people don't realize. Because in the last 2 years, cryptocurrencies became so accepted, and the governments and the banking industry, start from Jamie Dimons, he said, no, 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 it's wrong and it's a fraud. He was the guy buying and selling and creating his own exchange and playing the game like a whale because it was unregulated. Sorry to call him out. But here's what's happening. Slowly, as all technologies take time and proof and make sure it's there, it's now accepted to the point that the Chinese, the Brits, the Germans, the French, the Eastern European countries where they do regulations have all started doing their version of central banking digital currency. Why? Because the banks are exposed, the government's exposed, and they know it. That if we don't do this, soon there won't be any currency for them to manage, no economies, no GDPs, none of these things, and no printing machines. So the Belarus of the world to Banks of England to the treasuries, everybody gets a good, nice goodbye to a certain percentage, okay? They will always be there till the day we die. Money will always be there. However, people have realized money is a way to transact. It has the value that the seller and the buyer say, this is the value of it, and I'm going to send it to you. So the same with crypto. It has a value. This is what I think the value is, and I'm sending it to you end to end. So it's a peer-to-peer agreement. Okay. Now, where I see the world going based on what I've just said is CBDC. Imagine you're in China, to take the worst example, or even in Russia, in your own home country. Sorry to say it. If you have your digital currency, guess what the government's going to do by having it? They'll now have a ledger of every single amount you've paid. So if the currency and the valuations are going down, they say, hey, Sergey, you've earned $1 million and I see that you've bought some American or Chinese products. Bloody stop it. Otherwise, we'll put a cap on the amount you spend. So now you've got your money, but you can't even spend it. Not only that, they know where you are spending it, how you're spending, who you're spending it with, and what size of transactions you're doing. Nobody wants that. Hence why crypto will be here to stay. Okay. CBDC will have a place for the large central things, but digital currency and blockchain has a place. So then you look at the peer-to-peer side of things. So any person, the example I just gave between you and me, for example, if I want to send money to Sergey, why should someone else know? Why should it go through MoneyGram, Telegrams, Western Unions, Bank of England's to Barclays Bank or whoever? Why should it go there? I send money to Sergey for free in a second, end of story. And that's where the peer-to-peer starts. Now, if you think centuries ago, the Indians, coming back to my Indian story, this was happening all the time. And the world knows the business of hundi and hawala. Okay, it's an international word. For centuries, hundi and hawala has been going on. A says, I want to send money to a place in India or Africa, and B collects. They have their own form of encryption. In India, it's the biggest thing going, by the way, across the world. A and B knows what the transaction encryption is through whatever code they use, and the transaction happens. It's based on trust, and it's based on permissionless stuff. So that's what blockchain has learned, and that's what's happening. Here's something for you, Serge. The first in the world to hear my phrase. So forget DeFi, forget ICOs, blockchain, everything. I've created a word just for you today, Sergey. It's called PeFi. PeFi. That's where the world is going.
It's really, it's very new definition. Yes, I would like to just listen.
What it is.
PeFi, finally, yes.
PeFi. So PeFi, where yeah. PeFi, PeFi, like how you have DEFI, PeFi. So this is person-to-person finance.
Wow.
Okay.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So now, so the infrastructure for the person-to-person finance is all those issues and problems people have had with trust, making sure if I'm transacting with A and B, I know what value of the coin I have. And if it is stable and secured, that's the transaction currency I'm going to use. So, for example, we have a gold-pegged coin. You know exactly for centuries what the price of gold is. In fact, in the last 3 decades, if you look at it, it's the best performing asset class in the world, without a doubt. All right. So people know what your value of transaction is. So when I send my PeFi token to Sergey, he knows he will get it. Instant, no banking organization involved. So I say it, and you've heard it many times, we need banking, we don't need banks. Now, if you take back to the Hawala days, that's exactly what it's all about, peer-to-peer remittances. If I'm doing any form of remittances, why do you need the Western Unions to the M-Pesas in Africa who charge between 10 to 15 to even 20% just to do a transfer to the poor people when they don't even earn that much money? PeFi is the way, so you'll go peer-to-peer. Second thing, when you need a loan, there's already many peer-to-peer loan infrastructures, but why are these middlemen making so much money at such high interest rates? Soon people will say, you know what, Sergey, you already have 10,000 BTCs in your account. You want to borrow 5,000, put the custody through my smart contract, through my marketplace or the world's marketplace exchange. And I will give you the solutions for all this, by the way. And they take a minimal to virtually free transaction cost, and you to agree what interest rate each person is willing to agree on. or it goes on a bid and an auction, and the cheapest person who bids and auctions gets it. So where people are paying 30, 40, 50, and even 90%, I've seen for these sorts of microfinance loans, you get it for virtually less than 5%. And it's not peer-to-peer, smart contracts. You take custody of the person's asset, and until he pays you back, you release his asset back. Very clear in properly regulated escrow situations. You can go the same way with insurances, any form of goods, products, services in the same manner. Why have so many middlemen? So PFI and the peer-to-peer finance structure is the way forward. Let me tell you, so 3 years ago, with that vision in mind, I didn't invent the word PFI. I invented it just this morning. Would you believe it? I'll be honest. Okay. But so I said, what kind of a wallet would someone want? I said, I'm not loyal to any banks now. So I want all my bank account, any bank account on the wallet, and I can say which bank to pay into, which bank to pay out of, which one to receive my payments, where the bill goes out from, where the bill comes in from, my choice. Same thing with exchange. When I go from here to Russia, to China, to Middle East, to Africa, wherever I go, I want to have the exchange rate not from a MoneyGram or a one of these airport peoples, and that's why Thomas Cook, I was going to name it, but I can say it. That's why they went pop, because they were making a fortune in the early days with with American Express vouchers and all these exchange rates at an airport. They are the worst for taking commissions. Now, if you have an exchange, and now think if we have a distributed exchange which works and is properly managed with some form of centralization. I won't see the Uniswaps working immediately now for this, but there needs to be some form of centralization, and it will develop. Even CZ from Binance says the same thing. At the moment, some form of centralization. Decentralization will happen when people gain that trust. So I want to take euros out with my dollars. Straight from the exchange in your wallet, you do that swap. And it's at the interbanking rates. Oh, I've got my OZT coins, OZTG coins, which are our gold pack coins, and I want to convert that to euros or pound sterling. Same thing. I want to convert dollars to euros. Same thing. So now you see the value of that peer-to-peer way of doing it. The buyer and the seller can do it themselves. Imagine a buyer has so much dollars, euros, whatever. They want to transact. Some people, and dare I say it, this is where the controls and regulations need to come in, may want to do that transfer directly, which is what's happening in the world, in India specifically, through the Hawala business. It's exactly what happens, and people pay up to 4-5% and more for doing that. I won't go into the reasons why, but this happens. So privacy is the biggest thing that's happening. Our blockchain, OZTG coin and OZT blockchain, we have a privacy-based token and protocol in the system already. So in terms of getting hacked, it's very, very rare. And in terms of having privacy, fantastic. In terms of having a wallet, any bank account can go in there. And our exchange, we've taken even that to a different level. So we have a financial institution license, wallet license, and an exchange license. So based on that, we can do crypto to crypto, fiat to fiat, fiat to crypto, okay? And based on that, with the interbanking exchange rates, what we do is people transact at interbanking rates, and they can even do the swaps straight off the thing. So that's the solution. And then we give them a card where they can store their crypto on their card or on the exchange or on their chosen cloud. So no one likes an exchange being hacked and they lose their money. Now we give you the authority to say, you know what? You can go onto any exchange that you want, and you can trade on any exchange that you want, and you can store your crypto in your own vault or in your choice of vault. So you keep it. So now you are the bank manager, and you are your own wealth manager, and you are your own exchange manager, and you are your own yield farming and wealth creation and all of these things. So all these products are already included in our system. So next year, we are going to take it to the decentralized full manner. And the 2 years later, because it's a very long journey. It's not that easy. No matter what people tell you, it's not that easy. Doing a DeFi token, anyone can do it. 99% fail within the first 2-3 weeks. With that, Sergey, I hope you learned a new phrase from me, P-Fi.
Yes. Finally, today is, I want to show that it's not P2P, it's people finances, and that finances finally have to go to the people around the globe. Mru, thank you for your time. Thank you for your interesting, as usual, amazing topic. Share with our community, share with our viewers as well. Now I want to say you goodbye. See you a bit later. And